Hello everyone, this is Helios Raven. I tell you how I do it, even if you don't care. And we're continuing our in-depth look into the final fleet in the Forces of Battlefleet Gothic with the Adeptus Mechanicum, the Forces of Mars. And we are just concluding the special rules involving the fleet commander. Now, with an Archmagnos, you can elect up to any one desired item from the Adeptus Mechanicus refit table. That was the first table we talked about in the very first video. For their own ship as part of their point cost, in addition to and before the refit to the ship rolls for normally. So this basically means you get 2 refits for your ship, which is awesome. You select this one first, then you roll for another one on the same table. If a second refit rolled is determined to, if the second refit rolled is identical to the one selected, then you can select then the commander may select the second re-roll as well. So if you roll the same fit, awesome, you get to then choose whatever you want. If not, then you're stuck with the refit that it's given. Now, one thing though, the benefit of a Mechanicus Archmagnos brings with it cannot be combined with a refit selected because a ship rolled a 6 when determining their base leadership. So basically, this doesn't mean you roll for their leadership and then go, oh, hey, that rolled a 6, pick this refit. Oh, I'm going to put my fleet commander on him. Oh, hey, pick this refit. Oh, hey, get to roll for another refit. No, the ship only gets 2 refits because the Archmagnos retcons the leadership of the vessel. Its roll of a 6 basically is nullified because its leadership was predetermined. And so only up to 2 refits on any vessel can with a Archmagnos as the fleet commander commanding the ship, and of course that becomes your capital, your flagship for the army. And of course, these fleet commanders can purchase between 1 or 2 rerolls for 50 points for 1 reroll, or 2 rerolls for 125 points. Okay, that was a mouthful, and I'm still going. First thing is, we're going to now talk about the only ship that was added on to the forces of the Adeptus Mechanicum that we got, which was the Mechanicus Omniscia's Victory. This is a very expensive battleship, and it is pretty nice. It's a battleship with 12 hit points, speed 20 centimeters, turns 45 degrees, shields 4, armor 5, POW armor 6, turrets 5. It's got a port and starboard weapon battery system, 60 centimeter range, firepower 10, firing arc left, and firing arc right for each of them, respectively. It's got a port and starboard lance battery, again 60 centimeter range, firepower 2 on each side, each one fires on its left and right arc, respectively. It's got a dorsal lance battery, range 60 centimeters, firepower 2, firing arc left, right, and front. And it's got a POW Nova cannon, range 30 centimeters to 150 centimeters, firepower 1, firing arc front. This is a really nice model. I like the look. I kind of like its armaments because it's pretty nasty, but that's my personal opinion. Like, I did, in all honesty, this was one of the ships, this was basically the reason why I picked Adeptus Mechanicum as my Battlefleet Gothic force, because I just think the ship looks awesome, and I kind of like its armaments. It's one of my personal favorites. And notes here, it cannot come to a new heading, it cannot use the come to a new heading special order. The profile for the Omniscia's Victory already reflects the rules for the Adeptus Mechanicus vessels. It is equipped with repulsor shields and augmented weapon relays as part of its point cost, and it cannot take other refits from the Mechanicus gift table. Sorry guys, so the loophole there for making it even better doesn't work. And you may include the Omniscia's Victory in place of 1 battleship in the Adeptus Mechanicus fleet if it totals 1,000 points or greater. If used, it must be the flagship and embark in venerated Archmagnos for the costs listed in the fleet list. The Omniscia's Victory cannot take any other refix except those described in the notes here for this vessel, though it can earn others normally in campaigns. Only 1 Omniscia's Victory may ever be used in a fleet that includes Adeptus Mechanicus vessels. So, it can't get any more refits when you start the game. But if you're doing a campaign and you earn refits, then they can be applied to the ship. So there's your little loophole there for campaigning to make this thing even more awesome than it already is. Like I said, I think it's an awesome battleship. Is it the best out of all of them? No, there are some that are a little bit better than it, but it's got the longest range. And again, though, because it's got a 6 strength firepower weapon lances going off, so that's really awesome. And it's just a beast. Granted, though, for its points, I would again only use it if you have plenty of points to spare, like in a really large game or a campaign would be the only time I would suggest using the Omniscious Victory, because the Retribution class or the Eberron battleship can also be just as nasty, as well as the Emperor's battleship when in place for them, and they're better, I think, a little bit, since they're a little bit cheaper, they're a little bit better to purchase, in my opinion. And that was the only vessel that they were given. Now, you won't be going, well, wait a minute, what about those vessel cruisers that you see online, like these guys right here? Well, these vessels are actually just cruisers to represent other cruisers, but give you if you want to keep an Adeptus Mechanicum theme, you can have these little cruiser guys to play as the cruiser ships models instead, using the Games Workshop ones. I didn't go with that because they're a lot more expensive, since they're all pewter, and the regular Gothic ones, a good chunk, all the cruisers are plastic, so I went with that course over using the Mechanicus models. Now, and again, here's the thing. Let's going to talk about that. That is using Adeptus Mechanicus models. These models can be used as normal Imperial Navy vessels and be fully integrated into Imperial Navy fleets with no restrictions. If used in this manner, they do not have access to the Adeptus Mechanicus refits or special rules. However, they also use all normal point values and do not have any of the restrictions concerning boarding actions, critical damage, and assault boats that boats Mechanicus vessels do. This is basically saying, say if you're like, let's see, you're one of these guys where you want to say, oh, I'm playing a Mechanicus army, but it's Imperial Navy army, then they're saying you can use these models, go right ahead, use them as regular models. I know that one of my friends who plays Battlefleet Gothic, he purchased the models because he liked their look, and he says, yeah, these are Mechanicus ships, but he plays it all up as a regular Imperial Navy army, is what they're saying. So, not too bad, so you can use these as regular models if you want. They're just there if you want to give yourself a full-on Adeptus Mechanicum look to your fleet. And they, again, like I said, this is like a hybrid of vessels. And what you got is you could use either the Adeptus, the Mechanicus Arc. You can have a max of one of those. And you may include one battleship for every 3 cruisers in your fleet. You could have a Emperor battleship, a Retribution battleship, or an Eberron battleship. I personally use an Eberron battleship myself. Your cruiser selection is you may have up to 15 cruisers in the fleet. A Dictator cruiser, a Tyrant cruiser, a Lunar cruiser, a Gothic cruiser, a Defiant light cruiser, an Endeavor light cruiser, or an Enhanced light cruiser. Again, the stats for these guys can be found in the respected fleet listings of the Imperial Navy and Space Marines. You can also go back to my Imperial Navy and Space Marine videos to get a glimpse of those. And then they could have any number of escorts that they want. Now, these guys are taken, again, from the Imperial Navy and the Space Marine Force, and because of this, they're saying in their rules here is you cannot just take your escorts from your other army and throw them in there and go, oh, these are my Mechanicus escorts. No. The escorts, like the cruisers and the battleships, have to be painted in Adeptus Mechanicum colors. That's the only way, like, again, if you somehow manage to find someone running a tournament or something, most likely you're going to go with that rule of, since it says clearly in the rules they have to be painted in Mechanicus colors to count as Mechanicus vessels. And you're allowed the Nova frigate, the Firestorm frigate, the Gladius frigate, the Sword frigate, the Falcon frigate, the Hunter destroyer, and the Cobra Destroyer. These are, again, Space Marine and Imperial Navy vessels. You have to look at their respected chart lists to get their stats on them. And that is basically it for the Adeptus Mechanicum. And we're going to talk about some little notes in one more video, and then we're going to give my final thoughts. So, until then, this is Helios Raven, signing off.